Remember how I told y'all that even though Jeremiah considered Nick to be his best friend in the villa, Nick has always considered Ace to be his best friend in the villa, and that's who his loyalty would always lie with, right? Add a bombshell to the mix, who they're all feeling, but she's clearly feeling Jeremiah the most. And we saw just how much hateration and holleration they had up in this dancery, okay? Oh, and ladies, did y'all get rid of Hannah so that Huda can push up on Pepe in peace? Let's talk about it.
Roxiie says we're gonna talk about it.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl Roxiie with Roxiie Says, and we're gonna talk about it today. We are reviewing Love Island USA Season 7, Episode 18. Baby, I'm still annoyed. I'm still pissed off. So you mean to tell me that Jeremiah and Andreina sharing a couple little bestos got y'all that upset? Wow. And you know what? I hope that she doesn't mess with any of y'all. Okay, so let's get right into this review. But before we do, please don't forget to hit like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure that you hit that notification bell so that you are made aware every time I post a new video. Let's get right into it. Okay, so this episode opens up with Huda, Shelly, and Sierra. They're discussing their answers for today's challenge. And Shelly lets Huda know that, look, the reason why we picked you for the one being at the center of all of the drama in the house is because, you know, that's kind of what it's been, but it wasn't meant to be an attack on you. And Huda says that her being the topic as the person who spreads drama just sucks because she really cares about them. And Shelly, Sierra, and Alandria are her closest friends in the villa. And I said, oh, I thought it was like Hannah. I thought you and Hannah were really tight. Okay, guess not. So she says that she's been afraid to make friends since she's always had bad experiences in the past, which makes it hard for her to trust people, but she reassures them that she is a caring person. She also apologizes to the ladies for not being there enough for them, and Sierra tells her that she's made strides in the past few days, and she apologizes to Huda for any part that she might have played in this entire situation. Huda tells us that she's only had 2 close friends, and being here shows exactly why, and it's because she's afraid of getting hurt. Again, no acknowledgement of her actions or how she could have possibly played a part in the breakdown of her past friendships. But moving forward, Huda says that she wants to rewrite her story and show that she's more than a crash out. Now, that's a great goal to have, right? People can change, people can learn, people can grow, but only time will tell if Huda definitely means what she's saying or if she's just blowing smoke up these people's ass, okay? So next we see Iris telling Jeremiah straight up that she feels more of a platonic vibe between them, and Jeremiah definitely agrees. And Iris acknowledges that Jeremiah's type is now in the villa, right? She's referring to Andreina, and Jeremiah says, well, I feel like your type is in the villa too, okay? And he's referring to TJ. So when Iris reveals to Jeremiah that she actually kissed TJ, he was like, oh, you little freaky frog. You little freaky frog. But he also says it actually makes a lot of sense because the two of them seemed more comfortable with each other today. And then he reveals that he actually made out with Andreina. Do y'all think that Jeremiah would have told Iris had she not told him first? I don't think so. Not immediately, at least, okay? But these two agree to keep each other's secret of making out with the new bombshells, and they shake on it, and they wish each other the best. They agree to always have each other's backs, and Jeremiah says type shit for like the 100th time. And then he tells us that when coming to Andreina, he's looking to build a foundation of friendship first and foremost, okay? So next we see Amaya telling Alandria that she's noted that Austin will make a face whenever she calls him babe. So she asks him if she's made him uncomfortable, and we already saw that Austin's answer to that question was no, okay? So Amaya says that she's not upset with Austin, and Alandria tells her that she needs to just take a step back, and if he notices the difference, then oh well, okay? Amaya says that the people in here are making her feel like she's going absolutely crazy, and she starts to cry, and she's questioning if wearing her heart on her sleeve is the wrong way to go about things. Now, Alandria tells her that someone is gonna come in and appreciate it, and Amaya lets us know that she's just a very loving person, and although she may be too much for some, she's not gonna change who she is for anyone. So Amaya knows that she can be a lot. And that's why she asked Austin, like, hey, am I doing too much? Let me know. But all Austin did was lie. And we're also going to see what he's going to do is go around the house and talk shit about Amaya to everyone else, right? So I feel really bad for Amaya because she really can't catch a break, it seems like. And like I said before, Amaya was a lot from the first day that she stepped into the villa. They all knew this to the point where Austin said that he was afraid of her, remember? But Austin knew that Shelly was going to pick Ace, and Amaya knew that Ace definitely wasn't about to pick her. So they clearly gravitated towards each other, but Amaya is being more forthcoming with her feelings, at least with her efforts to have something with Austin. And I feel like if he doesn't feel the same, that's perfectly fine, but be straight up with her the same way that you told her that you would have been in the past, right? Remember, y'all had a conversation. You said you're a very straight up type of person. That's not what you're giving. And at this point, I was like, I hope Amaya stays and she finds her little match in Casa, all right? So next we see Nick and Sierra. They're talking about their visit to the romping shop last night. And Nick says that although it was only 30 seconds, it happened naturally and it happened beautifully. And usually he takes his time, but last night was truly a representation of how he feels towards Sierra. I said, okay. So Sierra says that she has strong feelings for him and she doesn't know how to navigate them. And during the game that they played earlier, she didn't like how it made her feel to see Nick being so extra during the challenges, rolling around with the bombshells and all of the extra stuff that he was doing. And although it was a challenge, she says that she's not going to hide her feelings from him like she would in the past. And Nick admits that he is attracted to Andreina, and the purpose of the challenge is to have fun and challenge your current connections. And Sierra lets him know that even when she has chats with other islanders and the vibe is good, she still lets them know that her strongest connection is with Nick. She's like, I don't know what you're saying in your chats. I'm just letting you know what I say in mine. And Nick doesn't say the same. It's very obvious because he tells her, well, I think that you're free. You should feel free to explore all your connections. You should feel free. And Sierra explains that she doesn't know what to do with that freedom. She doesn't want the freedom. Okay, that's what she really wants to say. And at this point, I was like, girl, he's not about to close off for you. If that's what you're hoping for, if that's what you're looking for, you're not about to get it in this conversation. And 2 seconds later, Nick says it. He says, look, you check all my boxes, but I'm not about to close off. I'm not ready to close off. And Sierra's just like, okay, yep. Okay. So she's definitely not happy about it. And she tells us for the first time she feels like her feelings are stronger than Nick's. And now she's wondering if she's in too deep and if she'll be able to untangle herself from this connection. And Nick is in his confessional all confused at Sierra's reaction. Nick, please. Didn't y'all just sleep together like yesterday? I really hate this for my girl. Okay, what is the protocol usually of people in the house? Do they usually wait until they're closed off to sleep together? Is this the norm? I'm just curious. Let me know what's happened in the past. Okay, so next we see Ace picking Shelly up and carrying her over to sit down for a chat. And they both say that they've been waiting for this moment all day. And Ace tells her that he feels like he's finally found someone who can make him laugh and not take things too seriously, but still have serious conversations. Shelly, what that means is he's about to play in your face. Did you catch it? That's what he means. He's about to play in your face, okay? And Ace is in his confessional and he's just cheesing. And he says that this bond, it feels so real, you know, like I'm able to open up with her, which isn't a feeling that he's used to. And he tells Shelly that he cares about her and she makes him so happy. And they share a cute little peck, just a little peck. And I said, Shelly, find someone else in Casa, baby. Find someone else in Casa, because one, Ace is about to play in your face. And the way that the end of this episode went down, I don't think you want to be connected to him, okay? So we see everyone, they're getting ready for bed and Sierra is crying. And when Huda goes to comfort her and ask her if she wants to talk about it, and Sierra doesn't even answer her. She doesn't even want to talk about it. And I said, damn, my girl Sierra is pissed, okay? So Nick is telling the guys that his connection with Sierra is stronger than any other connection that he has with any of the other girls. But at the same time, he's not done chatting with Andreina. See, Nick, I liked you up until this point. Because at this point I was thinking that if Sierra got with TJ and Jeremiah got with Andreina and you're all on your own because Alandria chose Taylor, I wouldn't even feel bad. I wouldn't even feel bad for you. And Austin is still running around telling everyone else how he feels about Amaya except for Amaya. Okay, Austin, you starting to piss me off too. And your ass should have went... Let me not get ahead of myself, but Austin, the way that you are going about this Amaya situation is pissing me off because you're still not being straight up with her, okay? We see Jeremiah and Andreina, they hug and they kiss on the cheek before bed. Jeremiah and Iris, they share a friendly hug before getting in bed together. Nick tries to cuddle with Sierra and she brushes him off and she's like, oh, your body is so warm. It's so warm. And those two fall asleep so far apart on that bed. Okay, so the next morning we see TJ. He brings a beverage for Sierra, Iris, and Huda, and Jeremiah brings breakfast up for Andreina and Iris. And baby, when he handed the breakfast to Iris, Jeremiah said, good morning, bestie. The way I screamed, Jeremiah wants it to be crystal clear to everyone, especially Andreina, that him and Iris are just friends, okay? Solo amigos. That's it. So Nick comes upstairs with Sierra's breakfast, and once again, he takes the hood away from, from Sierra that TJ brought up to her. I don't know why I thought that this morning Sierra would have told him, leave my cup alone. Leave my cup alone. Yeah, he brought it and I'm going to drink it. And the way that I envisioned her picking up that cup of tea and just gulping it down right in front of Nick's face, not breaking eye contact and burping right after to show him like, boy, don't play with me, okay? Don't play with me. But none of that happened. None of that happened. Nick takes the cup downstairs and he looks very annoyed that TJ is continuing to bring Sierra tea. What's the problem, Nick? Nicholas, what is the problem with TJ bringing your girl some cafe? What's the issue? Y'all are open, right? What's the issue? So next we see Huda telling Taylor and Alandria that her chat with TJ last night went well and she thinks that he's cute and she was just being her fun, flirty self, but it's hard to read him because he doesn't reassure her the way that Jeremiah always would. And she says that Jeremiah would always make little heart signs across the room to her. And here goes Taylor talking about that wasn't reassurance, that was obsession. Taylor, you would consider a little hand gesture like that to be obsession because you can't even give a damn compliment, sir. You don't even give a damn compliment. So of course that would be obsession to you. Anyway, Taylor catches her looking at TJ and they're like, Huda, stop looking at him. Stop looking at him. And Huda says, I just want to know what that man is thinking. Oh girl, you about to find out. Yeah, he about to tell you in a couple minutes, okay? So next we see Nick telling Ace about the shift in Sierra's energy last night at bedtime. And Nick tells Ace, well, I'm not going to ask her what's wrong. You know, if she just won't tell me, why would I ask her what's wrong? Well, that's one way to go about it, okay? And although Nick admits that sleeping with Sierra wasn't the right move since he knew that he wanted to stay open, he says that he still reassured her about their connection being the strongest. Nick, that means absolutely nothing if you still want to explore, right? That doesn't mean anything. So Nick tells us that if Sierra still feels a way about the situation, that's problematic since they already had an agreement. Ace tells him to be careful, and he thinks that Sierra just wants to be super locked in, and then Ace says, women. I feel like Ace is gonna start a podcast after this. What y'all think? He gives right? He gives that, okay? Meanwhile, we see Sierra. She's having a chat with Shelly, and she just feels like if Nick can look at her and say that he's perfectly fine, possibly being in another couple, then they aren't on the same level that she thought that they were, which makes her feel very uncomfortable, and it makes her want to put her walls back up. So Shelly advises her to get to know other people, and Sierra agrees that she will, but she's just going to take some space for now. And she starts to cry, but she's trying to fan her tears away because she doesn't want anyone else to see. And Sierra tells us that she needed reassurance last night, and Nick was just unable to give that to her, which was very confusing. But that conversation helped her remove her rose-colored glasses. And I honestly thought that although this may hurt, I love that her rose-colored glasses have been lifted, and I really love that those glasses have been lifted right before Casa, which is tonight, okay? I love that for Sierra. So next, we see everyone at the pool while Austin cleans it. Remember, Austin was a pool boy back at home, and Amaya's like, yes, you're doing such a great job. Oh my gosh, the way he holds that stick, it turns me on. She says that it was making a certain body part have a little heartbeat. Amaya, you do be putting 20 on 10, girl. I'm gonna need you to fall back like you said you would, okay? Meanwhile, we see TJ. He pulls Iris for a chat, and he tells her that his favorite part of the challenge was kissing her, and Iris agrees that they had a really good kiss. She compliments his butt. They chat about what they do in their spare time. Iris says that she likes to go to the beach. TJ says that he likes to build Legos. Shout out to Tammy Talks because she loves her some Legos as well. So their conversation was really chill. And when Ace asks him later who his top pick is right now, he says that he's super comfortable with Iris. And when he said that, I was like, damn. What about Sierra? I thought that he had more of a connection with Sierra. But then I figured maybe he said Iris, right? So that the boys won't send him home in order to protect Nick's connection. Because TJ has probably already peeped how the boys have been moving in this damn villa, okay? Just something to keep in mind. Meanwhile, Sierra is telling the ladies that her growing feelings for Nick makes her feel more sensitive to everything that he does. And Hannah says that there are times when she misses Charlie. And I said, girl, when? What you mean there are times that you miss Charlie? And how quickly did you throw away that little picture of him that you were crying on, girl? Anyway, she still says that she's thoroughly enjoying her connection with Pepe. So after everyone goes downstairs, we see Pepe and Hannah. They're having a conversation about how much they've missed each other. And then they start talking about vampire roleplay. These two are freaky deaky, okay? Freaky deaky. But you can definitely see that they're getting closer. They're getting more comfortable with each other. And at this moment, I was like, wow, they look really cute together. They really did. And then Pepe messed it up because he asks Hannah, well, what if I don't like you when we leave here? Valid question, but why would you even ask that in this moment? And I was like, is this a little bit of foreshadowing what's going on? All right. So next we see that Alandria has planned to have a nice little fruit tray and drinks out there on the dock for Taylor. And I bet she thought of that all on her own. I bet she thought of this all on her own. She didn't need Shelly's help. She didn't need Huda to tell her to do it. Iris, I would bet money that she thought of this all on her own and she didn't need any of the other ladies to tell her to do it. But she says that the reason why she's doing it is because she wants to reciprocate Taylor's efforts. She wants to reciprocate Taylor's efforts. Anyway, they have a cute little conversation where we learn that Alandria loves pineapples and Taylor hates them. But he says that he's always loved apricots, whatever, because his grandpa had a tree and they were always so yummy. And Alandria tells him the story of how she remembers picking and eating plums off of her grandmother's tree. I really loved this conversation. I did. It was very wholesome. We got to learn more about the both of them. Love the conversation. Still don't see a lick of romance at all. None whatsoever, especially coming from Taylor's side. But if anything, I do feel like if these two don't, go into a romantic couple, as long as nothing foul happens between them, I feel like these two will leave here being the best of friends. The best of friends. And Alandria says that she's hoping that she gets to run off into the sunset with her cowboy after this. And Taylor says, I got you. And then they share like this little peck kiss. And immediately after the kiss, Taylor looks right down into his drink. And I said, girl, he can't even make eye contact. Okay, Alandria, if you like it, I love it. If you like it, I love it, girl. So next we see TJ. He pulls Huda for a chat and she's like, so what do you want to chat about? And TJ lets her know that he wants to be completely honest. And he says, look, I like the conversation that we had the other night. I like getting to know you, but I'm just not feeling a connection. And Huda says, okay, well, can I ask why? And he says that he doesn't have a specific reason, but for him, it feels more platonic. And Huda says that she enjoyed their chat and she thought that there was some chemistry there. And TJ reiterates that he thinks that she's a cool person, but he doesn't want to lead her on. So Huda says it's cool. She says, you know what? I'm used to a man being obsessed with me really quickly, and I noticed a difference in you, but it's not the end of the world, okay? She says, don't worry. She's not mad at him. She's not about to curse him out. And I said, good job, Huda. Thank you. We like to see it. So Huda tells us that she's confident that someone in here will see her for her, and she's looking forward to it. And her and TJ agree that they can be cool, and they hug it out. And I was just happy that no one was called up as B during this conversation. I was really happy to see that. But Huda did handle this rejection well. She did a good job, okay? So next we see Jeremiah and Andreina. They're flirting some more. And while they're laughing, we see Ace, Nick, Taylor, and Pepe. They're talking about Jeremiah being head over heels for Andreina already. And Ace says, look, as soon as his type came through the door, Jeremiah locked in on her. And Ace feels like he's repeating the same cycle that he did with Huda. AC, Andreina also seems to be very interested in Jeremiah. More than the rest of y'all. More than the rest of y'all for sure. So is he not supposed to spend time with her? And Ace, let's not act like you wouldn't be doing the same exact thing that Jeremiah is doing had Andreina been showing interest in you. Right? Like, come on. The way that these guys just sit and dissect how Jeremiah handles things, how Jeremiah moves, it's giving jealous. It's giving jealous. Y'all just sitting in a corner talking about how he forms connections or how he locks in. Haven't y'all all been paired up or pretty much focused on the same girl for the most part this entire time? And who the hell are y'all to dictate how someone else is allowed to move in this game? Who are y'all? This is crazy. So Andreina tells Jeremiah that they can't kiss because everyone is looking, and Jeremiah says he doesn't care. And baby, they start kissing out in the open in front of everyone, and all the guys are looking shocked. Nick looks pissed. Look at Nick's expression. Nick looks absolutely pissed off. Ace looks sad, like he was about to cry, and Huda starts clapping. Huda, see, you be making strides and then you mess it up. What you clapping for? So anyway, that kiss clearly hurt all of the boys' feelings. And I feel like that sealed Jeremiah's fate, okay? So right after that kiss, we see Nick. He receives a text message summoning all of the Islanders to the fire pit immediately. So, of course, everyone is shook, and so am I, all right? So when they get there, Huda gets a text stating that America has been voting for their favorite girl and boy. So then Ace gets a text message, and as soon as he reads it, he was like, shit. And Amaya's like, what? Amaya, chill out. Look, you revving up the crash out already. Just wait a second, okay? So Ace reads it, and it says that the Islanders with the fewest votes are at risk for being dumped tonight, all right? So Andreina and TJ were not included in this vote because they're the new bombshells. So the ladies are up first, and they share their I love yous. They're holding hands. They're talking to each other. They're crying. And we learn that the ladies who are safe in no particular order are Alandria, Sierra, Shelly. And when Shelly was marked safe, Ace was like, oh, I'm so happy because I thought I was going to have to whoop America's ass. Okay, whatever, Ace. And lastly, Huda. So Huda is safe. She's not even in the bottom three, so her people definitely showed up and showed out for her, okay? So we see that the bottom three consists of Iris, Amaya, and Hannah, all right? So next up, they go through the boys. And I was like, damn, so the girls who are in the bottom three just gotta stand there and wait? Shit. So the boys who are safe, also in no particular order, are Taylor, Nick, and Ace. So we have Pepe, Jeremiah, and Austin in the bottom three, all right? So I'm thinking, okay, they're just about to announce who has the least amount of votes, which boy, which girl, and that's the person who will be dumped from the island. But no. They get a notification that the safe islanders are going to be the ones who will vote one boy out of the villa and one girl out of the villa. And Amaya was like, but no, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. No, she didn't do that. She didn't do that. But all of the guys got to vote for a guy and all of the girls got to vote for a girl. And child, as soon as they said that's the way that the voting was going to go, I already knew who the guys were voting out. I already knew who the guys were voting out because he's their biggest threat. And they know it. And that's why they just sit around watching his every move. And the new bombshell, who they were all dapping each other up about. Remember, as soon as Andreina came on the scene, they were dapping each other up. Ooh, she went straight for Jeremiah. And yeah, she had a little thing with Nick, but it's clear that she's feeling Jeremiah the most, okay? And honestly, I feel like the bombshells should have been able to save someone. That's just crazy to me. So anyway, we see Shelly get up and she says, look, this was a very tough decision because we all consider ourselves to be sisters and blah, blah, blah. But the person who they decided to dump is Hannah. And I said, Hannah? My girl Hannah? And baby, the way that Hannah started bawling the same way that she did when Charlie left, Hannah is bawling. She can't even contain herself. And I was like, damn. Pepe is shaking his head and then he does go over to comfort her. And Hannah was like, what the She was like, hold on, what is going on? And I definitely understand the sentiment because why did y'all pick Hannah? Y'all picked Hannah over Iris? And immediately I was like, did y'all vote that way so that Pepe could be free? Now, I understand why y'all saved Amaya. I see her interact with a lot of the other ladies, so I feel like she has more of a connection with them. But I feel like I've seen the ladies have more moments with Hannah, way more moments with Hannah than they did with Iris. And y'all didn't even save Hannah? I know why y'all did that. That's so that Pepe can be free to talk to Huda. That's why y'all voted that way, okay? So, child, next we see Taylor get up and he gives his little speech. And in his speech, he says, you know, looking at the bigger picture and seeing what America sees. And when he said that, Jeremiah started looking around like, I know they're not about to vote me off. I know they're not talking about me. Not Taylor trying to put the blame on America once again. So Taylor says, look, it's not personal, but the boys, you know, we want to dump Jeremiah. And baby, the way that Jeremiah was like, damn. Huda is crying and Andreina looks very emotional because earlier she told TJ when the voting started, she says, look, I hope that none of our connections are sent home. These boys are so threatened by Jeremiah. Their first vote for Jalen, obviously that was to relieve Taylor's threat. But this vote, oh, baby, this vote was out of pure jealousy and to get rid of Jeremiah because he's a threat to all of them. And the way that y'all made sure not to show us those conversations that they had to make the pick, the way that y'all made sure not to show us those conversations because y'all knew that it was some BS. Y'all keeping Pepe and Austin over Jeremiah is definitely giving jealousy. It's giving gameplay. So I don't want to hear anyone talking about, oh, that's a game. Y'all playing the game because y'all are playing the game too, right? Y'all know that as long as Jeremiah is on here, the bombshells won't give y'all any play. Let's talk about it. As long as Jeremiah is here, those bombshells will not be checking for y'all. And I still think that Ace has been jealous of Jeremiah from the very beginning because he got with Huda. I know a lot of y'all think that Ace don't give a damn about Huda. Ace has something for Huda, whether it's that he likes her, whether it's that he just wants to prove that he can get her. He has something with Huda, okay? And I also think, like I said before, Taylor has a little crush or something on Huda, right? So Jeremiah getting with the new bombshell was just the last straw for all of them, Pepe included, because remember, Pepe was speaking Spanish as soon as Andreina came in the damn villa, right? So he wanted to get rid of him too. And Andreina is annoyed because she's like, they see that we were building a connection. Why would they vote like that? Because they want you to themselves. And I hope that you don't talk to any of them. any of them, okay? So we see Jeremiah share a hug with Hannah. She's still bawling, and when the ladies all go back upstairs to the makeup room, Sierra tells her that she's very sorry that this is happening, and Alandria is telling her that she's the light of this villa, right? And it was a really hard decision. And Hannah says, you know, thank you, but I just don't know how to talk to the people who just voted to boot me off of the island. So yeah, and I felt that. I felt that. And Alandria is in her confessional wondering if they made the right choice. All right, girl. So meanwhile, in the boys' room, Nick is telling Jeremiah, look, bro, it wasn't personal, bro. You know, ain't that the same thing that you told Huda when you voted for her, right? When you voted for Jalen over her? Nick, you be flip-flopping, baby. You be flip-flopping, okay? But he does tell Jeremiah that he loves him and he'll always be there for him. He will always be his bro. Ace also tells him that it was nothing personal. Ace, boy, if you don't shut it all the way up, if you don't shut that shit all the way up, Ace, but they all dap each other up. But you can see it all over Jeremiah's face that he feels betrayed and he doesn't believe a word that any of them are saying. He knows that this is some BS. And we see Huda pull Jeremiah for a chat. They head outside, okay? And she's crying and she tells him that she's really sorry that it had to be like this. And she's sorry that she was mean to him and she wasn't the nicest all the time. But she promises that she still cares and they share so many memories. And she says that she truly thought that they would be leaving here together. And as soon as she said that, Jeremiah immediately said, well, you're Mr. Right. He's going to walk in any minute now. Any minute now, he's going to be here. Even on the way out of the villa, Jeremiah is making it 100% clear. You are not the one for me. I am not the one for you. Okay. He says, we're not going to get anything confused, even though I'm leaving. So they hug. She pulls his head to kiss him on the cheek. He kisses her on the forehead. I know she definitely wanted a kiss on the lips, okay? And she doesn't want to let go. She cries some more. And we see Hannah and Pepe there in the speakeasy. And she's still crying and she says that she doesn't want to leave. Pepe says that he feels the same way and he tells her that she's an amazing girl. And when he gets out of here, he's going to come find her. I said, damn, Hannah, you about to have both Charlie and Pepe looking for you? We know ain't nobody looking for nobody after this, right? So Pepe tells us that he feels like shit and the wrong person went home. Lastly, we see Andreina and Jeremiah. They're having a chat. They're hugging and they're saying how much they'll miss each other. And we see them share one last passionate kiss. Child, that was a very disappointing episode. And tomorrow is Casa. The guys and the girls, they take one group pic and they all share a group hug and they all say their final goodbye. We see Hannah in her exit interview and she's saying that it's really sad that she has to leave and Pepe is still there. And Jeremiah says that he feels betrayed, but he doesn't regret anything that he did, you know, type shit. And tomorrow is Casa. Do they bring people back? Like, would they bring like Bella back or Jeremiah or Jalen back for Casa? Do they do stuff like that? I really hope they do. I would love to see Jeremiah back. I would. I feel like tonight was some BS with the way that he went home. But tell me all of your thoughts for tonight. Tell me all of your predictions. Don't forget to hit like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure that you hit that notification bell. And baby, I cannot wait to see you tomorrow in my next video. Bye.
Roxiie says we're gonna